In the previous episode, Romain, Ryan and I were starting from Guadeloupe to go back to France. As we were departing, right, so maybe you're liking a few information about this crossing. Right after my mini transat, I got hired by Mathieu.
Oh my god.
Who's an ex-mini sailor and he trained in La Turballe as well as I did. So he had just sailed the Transat Jacques Vabre, which is a double-ended race across the Atlantic from France to the Caribbean. And since he had a baby on the way with his girl, he needed someone to bring the boat back to France after the race. And since I was the skipper on this passage, I had to, make my own crew. So I called train passing. So I called my friend Ryan.
Wow.
Who I met during the Clipper Around the World race, who's an amazing sailor, and he had also sailed the Transat Jacques Vabre, on a sister ship of the boat that we just crossed. So he was just the perfect co-skipper for this. And of course we had Romain, who was as always looking for adventure, and it's been a while that we had been talking about him crossing the Atlantic, so that was just the perfect opportunity to have a third crew, even a little less experienced, could just take watches and being a group of three is much nicer to interact socially on the boat. So I often get questioned about how I make a living. Well, deliveries are a big part of it since I've started racing, because I don't manage yet to get paid to race, so doing deliveries is a big source of income for me.
Pas du style, on fait du pratique. Filme le soleil plutôt, regarde ça. Shitty day.
Right, so we've been into 25 to 35 knots all night. The sea state is really trade windy with wind, so it's really uncomfortable, really wet. It should be like this for another 24 hours. So great. There are people resting in there. Yeah, two reefs in the main, J2. Really intense. You've read Moitessier too much.
That isn't Moitessier,
Right, so finally the wind came down a little, especially the sea state. A fucking pain in the ass for the last 48 hours. So now we're heading towards the center of the high. How does weather system works in the North Atlantic? That's me filming on the go, so hope you can hear me. Basically, when crossing from Europe to the Caribbean, it's relatively straightforward. After you pass the Bay of Biscay, you go to Canary Islands or to Cape Verde and you cross across to the Caribbean or Brazil. It is relatively straightforward because you just catch the big high pressure that is sitting there in the middle of the Atlantic, and you get favorable wind, meaning like north to westerly winds, and that kind of push you towards the Atlantic. Now when you cross back from the Caribbean to Europe, it's a bit of a different story. First you have the first 2-3 days after leaving the Caribbean, where you need to kind of be beating into these trade winds, get off from that southern quadrant of the high pressure, so going north. So that's beating into quite a bit of a sea state and some wind. Then you have to cross the center of the high pressure that is normally sitting there, so it's going to be light wind for a few days. If you're not racing, it's easy peasy. You just motor through that, get a few squalls, and then the idea is to go and reach one of these low pressure that are swinging across the North Atlantic from west to east. That's the part where it gets fruity, because these low pressure, especially in winter, are going to be really big and really often. So you'll see in the rest of this crossing how it develops, and we'll get quite a bit of weather. On the way on from Europe to the Caribbean, you're quite south, so it's warm and weather is relatively more stable and tame. When you go back north, especially in winter, the weather is a bit more fruity because you're much more north. You get only low pressures, and you're onto the south quadrant of those low pressure, and it's all about avoiding the front, and it's why it's good to have a fast boat, so you can get south, not to get the worst part of the front, and as soon as the front is passed, you can head back up and benefit of the push of the low pressure. So that's a bit on the how to handle these passages on the rough idea. Alright, now back to the sailing. Right, we got the high, more or less. At least a bit more calm weather, which is gonna be nice. Dry a bit everything and prepare for the next low. Coming low. So this has been the 45th squall of the day, and each time they miss quite near and I never can take a shower. That's a bummer.
Salut à tous. Bon, fin du jour 3. Jour 3 en mer. Bon. Bilan des premiers jours, les 48 premières heures ont pas été faciles. Pour moi, je pense que ça a été mieux pour les deux. Ouais, ça reste impressionnant, hein. Ça bougeait beaucoup. Si j'ai vomi quand même un peu. Mais j'ai pas été si malade, seulement ça a quand même été difficile de trouver ses marques et de se faire à cette mer qui s'est calmée aujourd'hui. Plus cool, mais le bateau avance toujours pas mal. 5. Et voilà, c'est très chouette. Très très chouette. Pas de sentiment d'euphorie, pas encore. Pas mal de mal à bouffer, mais ça va mieux. Des petits cafés, on a déjà la veste. On a fait quelques jours. Comment va-t-on finir habillé? Ça, je me le demande. Bref, tout roule. Il nous restait quelques petites carottes, des petits trucs frais, mais là, sinon on se lance dans la nourriture facile à préparer. Ça a tapé beaucoup, ouais, ça a tapé beaucoup les 2 premiers jours. Bon, c'était pas facile d'aller à l'intérieur, mais on tient le choc et a priori on a 24 heures encore calme à venir, donc bien pour encore se préparer, que le bateau soit clean, prendre ses marques, savoir comment je peux aider l'équipage. Et voilà, sinon écoutez, on n'a pas de terre depuis pratiquement le début. Là. On a aperçu évidemment la Guadeloupe, les Irades, etc. Et puis c'est à peu près tout. Et puis c'est la grande aventure. Allez, à des chats.
Elle est bonne ou quoi?
Elle est super bonne.
Rams, tu fais quoi?
Facile. Nettoie la crash zone. C'est plein d'eau. C'est surtout la première fois que j'arrive aussi à l'avant du bateau. So Hugo, let's do it in English, eh?
Okay.
Can you explain to us what you are doing right now? Are you trying just to find something to do because the weather is calm, or is it something useful?
Well, I hope it is useful. I'm trying to fix the hydro generator. Actually, the hydro generator works fine, just all the purchase system is not fine.
Okay.
So we did most of the job, but now there's only one single screw that pain in the ass, and yeah, trying to fix this.
Le temps est calme, alors je fais le malin. Ça va pas durer.
So we are still only at the beginning of this crossing, much more to come, so stay posted. Be sure not to miss the rest of the series, and also if you want to give me a hand, you can consider subscribing to this channel, liking this video, and also, you know, just speaking about this channel to your friends. Enjoy and fair winds.